Just I look up there these days. I look up there at the chat. I've got a telly on top of a telly. I've got two monitors. Theoretically, I've got two monitors. Theoretically, I've got two. Hi, you're with Scott. This is Mental Health Monday. It's midnight. It's always midnight. It's actually Monday. It's always Monday. This is your right ear and your left ear. It's neither. It's just mono. So what we've got, relaxing Zelda music with campfire ambience. We've got that. I've got the chat. I've got the thing rolling. Session says 0, 0. Is that right? No, session's rolling now. Okay, now it says live. Okay, it's live. Hello, Snips. Hello, Snippies. I've got all this. I've got you. Got it live. Got it all going. I haven't prepared anything for today. You're just in the middle of watching the last stream. You see exactly. Too much content. Went on a bit too long in the earlier stream. Got a bit irate. Going on about the chuffing government and stuff like that. You know, it's normal and natural to feel like that sometimes because you look at the news, the cost of living's rising, those chuffers are having it away. But I don't want to make my channel into some like political rant channel. Definitely don't want to go there. But you know, that one got a little bit like that. We managed to temper it with oh yeah, we're talking about large people and the concept of genetically modifying a human race into giants and whether it would work. Like, it doesn't work scientifically, does it? It doesn't work. I was thinking about that earlier as well. I was just out the back and I was thinking about the things I could have said. I could have said that, like, blood pressure, water pressure, if you increase the size of the body to a certain size, eventually, you know, your heart would have to be so oversized to be able to pump that amount of fluid around the body with that lack of pressure, because the minute your veins get too big, the amount of pressure that you'd have to have, the amount of blood you'd have to have in your system, you know, telomere length. There's a limit. Like, we're at a sweet spot, aren't we? Evolution's done that for us. There's a limit. You can't, if your blood vessels are too small, they wouldn't work. The pressure, it'd pop them. But if your blood vessels were too wide, it wouldn't work. You need so much pressure that your heart would have to be oversized and you have to have loads of blood. It'd have to be really thick. So it wouldn't work. We're in it's like Goldilocks zone, isn't it? That's why we work. That's why our human bodies work. We're very delicate. You'll know this, won't you? You'll know this. We're very delicately balanced. You start to put it out of balance a little bit and it all goes to cock. So being a massive giant probably wouldn't work. I mean, it's a nice idea, isn't it? We watch the films like BFG. I remember the BFG. I'm going to do this now, and the chuffing earlier on, it wound me up because we were on YouTube. We did a stream. Someone brought up some ideas that were funny things that we like from comedy shows. So I was like, oh yeah, I like that too. Let's have a quick look at that, and they'll tell the Americans about this comedy show. And then it binned us off YouTube entirely. It just binned us off. But you know what's really funny about it? If I go to YouTube Studio here, look, what was our last stream? The Conspiracy Iceberg in review, content, live. Our last stream, it's got a copyright claim, look, but it's public. Like, you were just watching it. So it ended the stream prematurely for us. It said, that's it, you've had enough now. No more YouTube for you for today. It was a 3-hour chuffer. I should have ended it an hour before, but it ended it, chuffed it off. And it's not going to suggest it to anyone. It's only had the number of views that it had while it was live. I don't think I'm allowed to show you the analytics, but it stopped suggesting it. Look, it was going up, up, up. See that? Up, up, up. But now it's flattening off. No more. Oh no, it's still suggesting it to people. That's okay. Maybe it is still suggesting. Maybe I'm wrong. It's not a conspiracy after all. Anyway, the funny thing is though, it binned us off YouTube and said you can't do that. But it's since decided in the sort of hour that it took me to walk the dog that no, it's fine. It's fine. I can't monetize it, but it's fine. So, shorter clips of copyright allowed. It's not so much the length. I mean, it is the length. It's about the context. If you're doing a review, a react, if you're doing fair use, review, critique, whatever, then it's allowed. But if you're just watching some other content just for a laugh, it's not allowed. So I was trying to carefully tread that border by commenting on it, explaining it to the Americans, Maybe I didn't do enough. I don't know. YouTube doesn't know in real time whether I'm treading the right side of that line, doesn't it? But anyway, that was earlier. And then I'll tell you a couple of stories, because Mental Health Mundane today is going to be absolutely... Like, I haven't got any... the things I had planned, I don't want to do. I had this thing about the top 10 antidepressant drugs dispensed in England. And sertraline hydrochloride is way out in front. I take mirtazapine, it's fourth most popular. But that one's the most popular. So I was looking into it. But I realised I don't really know enough about it. I don't take it. So then I was looking at YouTube videos of other people that did. But in the context of today, am I going to start watching someone else's video now and commenting on it, talking about it? No. Don't feel like doing that now. The other thing that I was interested in that I had prepared was this article about video games and mental health. How video games can be good for your mental health. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? Mental Health Monday. I'll tell you a story in a minute. I'll tell you a right story in a minute. And then I don't feel like doing that either really today. It's there, it's set up. And it finishes with... I'll go straight to the punchline. Obviously, like, video games are good for your mental health. But the punchline, it goes... There's a nomination for an award. It's called the 2022 Dr. Mark Award. And they're going to give an award, the Dr. Mark Klein Award for mental health representation in games. I thought that was really cool. What an interesting idea. So, it's been awarded in the past. Stardew Valley's been awarded it, and Celeste has been awarded it. So I thought that's an interesting idea. Maybe we can look the nomination form. We can nominate someone. So like that was, I might do that, but I haven't really got the energy for that now. And what game? We can have that discussion if you want. Hello, Mary Crawley. You were a world. I can't even say the words. Hello, Mary. You were a World of Warcraft. God, it's like a tongue twister. You were a World of Warcraft widow. A widow to World of Warcraft you were. It's easier that way around. A widow to World of Warcraft you were. That's why Yoda talks like that. It was one of the most... I don't want to be careful what I say, because in a way it's good the way they did it, but in another way it's bad. Blizzard, because I used to be addicted to Hearthstone in a way, they are very informed about gaming habits. That's the right way to say it. They're very informed about gaming habits. They've done a lot of market research about gaming habits, and they know exactly what to do, or they thought they did know exactly what to do to keep you gaming. And that can be good if you like gaming. And, you know, I was going to say nominating for this award, I'd nominate the one I've been playing, Genshin Impact. I'd nominate Genshin Impact, because I'm really enjoying it. But Genshin Impact's got that same thing where you pick up a little thing, and you pick up another little thing, and then you pick up another little thing, and then you just pick up another little thing, and then I'll just play 10 more minutes just to pick up this next thing, and then I just need to level my character up to this next level, so I just play 10 more minutes just to level up this next thing. So, whilst I love the game, Diablo came first, right? Yeah, I'm a Diablo player as well. I've played Diablo. I never played Warcraft because our internet would. Like, I didn't have the internet. My dad had the internet at his house, but I didn't, because of my parents' divorce. I could only play on the internet intermittently. So, like, World of Warcraft wasn't an option for me. But Diablo, yeah, I remember like being. I couldn't play it because my computer wouldn't play it, but being able to play it at friends' houses or see it and being like, wow, Diablo. And I've since recently played the more recent Diablos, yeah. But that's similar as well, it's similar, it did that. Diablo is from Blizzard North, and then like this bigger company, Blizzard, formed and got hold of it. World of Warcraft, it does this, could call it predatory or exploitative, but there's a double-edged sword, because you want to make a game so that people want to play the game, don't you? So, in another way, they could say they're making a good game. There's a whole load of conversations that go on about it. There's absolutely a load of conversations that go on about it. Used to play 16 hours, then sleep. Yeah. A lot of people end up doing that. It's about getting a healthy balance, isn't it? Snippy says, I got overwhelmed with stress concerning the tragic clips. Yeah, like, did you? Oh, chuffing hell. Chuffing hell. That heart flippy flopping in your chest thing. It's good that you're totally fine, and obviously I'm assuming you've got reasonably decent medical care because you're involved in that sort of thing, so I'm assuming you know what's going on and they know what's going on. A small panic attack, yeah, okay, yeah. Because I get panic attacks, absolutely, you know that, don't you? You've been here while I've been like, oh, I feel like it. So I totally feel where you're coming from. You must have been really scared though. I suppose what you're talking about here, and you work with kids as well, and this stuff going on, too much watching kids and parents going through it, yeah, exactly. It's like a system overload, isn't it? And mentally, you're not saying, there's no, like on a computer, we'd have, like if we're playing Genshin Impact, you'd have literally like a health bar going down or a, warning sign. But like, I guess that is your body's warning sign that at best it can do, isn't it? That you've had this sort of panic attack. And I'm glad that you are aware, like, you seem to be aware of exactly what the issues are. But yeah, you never have them. It's like, I guess it's like a barrel filling with rain. Eventually it starts to get to the top and starts to spill over. I guess you need a break. Certainly the advice that you would give me would be to relax, take a break and stuff like that, wouldn't it? Yeah, and it's so raw and visceral and real to you. And then the issue that you have is that it's like, it's not just that they put it on the telly, it's that they put it on the telly and debate it now, don't they? And they've all got an opinion. And obviously it's just a tragedy. So those opinions can maybe come later, like helping everyone through the worst times is what's important. Yeah. I mean, we saw it on the telly in our country too, and I guess it's more in your face there in America. It's more real. You know what I'm saying? You have combat tourniquets on our crash carts at the hospital now. Yeah, it's hard for me to totally understand how you feel because we don't have that same. I just tell people to not have any guns. I'd just be like, put all your guns down, you chuffers. What do you need that for, you chuffer? But it's just me, isn't it? Yeah, the gun people. It's like what I was talking about earlier when I was on my rant, isn't it? They've got their money, they've got their government, they've got their reasons, and they don't care about individuals, do they? They don't care about individual people. It doesn't matter to them one iota. And we have to live with the consequence of their ignorance. That's absolutely true, yeah. And you need a break, that's what you need. You need a break. You work hard, you face things day to day, and what you've described is very, very human, isn't it? To respond to this overwhelming, because it is I don't want to say I all the time but I'm running the show. But I did watch that news and I thought, I can't understand America. Like, I can't get that in my head how it would. I think the right thing is to be kind of speechless like I am. What can I say? It's absolutely tragic. I felt very worried that it was a young person that did it themselves as well. I felt like it was a child themselves. I mean, I know they were an adult. I know they're 18, they're growing up, but a child themselves in a way. Not yet. Like, how'd you get to that point? It's just fucked up, isn't it? Like, and I feel sorry. I know this sounds ridiculous, but I feel sorry for him as well. That it would have been better if he'd never done that, wouldn't it? If someone could have intervened with him in some way. I guess that's why we're here on Mental Health Monday, isn't it? That's why we care, and that's one of these things that make a difference. We had a bomb went off in an arena in the UK, an Ariana Grande concert, and I'm going to go to watch the Rolling Stones, and I'm think that what you're saying there, I totally identify with. Went to a ball game and was looking for an escape plan just in case. I've already thought to myself, I wonder if they would target that, that event. It just, we shouldn't have to live with those stresses, should we? We shouldn't have to live with those stresses. And if it is overwhelming, the one thing I would definitely say is, it's not about avoidance, but it is about distraction, isn't it? Maybe we're making it worse now because we're talking about it, but talking about it in a gentle way, I guess. But it won't go away. The world will still be a bit shit. But our ability to cope with it on a day-to-day level, if it's wearing a bit, if the ice is wearing a bit thin, then we need to go and chill out more, don't we? That's the bottom line. I know that you would suggest it to me, to relax, it's silly, isn't it? Relax. You're in the front line, like literally in that line of work. You're in that front line, aren't you? So I don't know what the system is as well, because in the UK it's not like you can just say, oh, I fancy a relax now. But you can, because you've got medical reasons. I would definitely get yourself a little away day, weekend somewhere, whatever it is you like to go away and do. That you don't have to, you know what I'm saying, don't you? You know what I'm saying. Yeah, definitely the content. I am surprised about it as well, because we talked about YouTube earlier and the demonetization. As people, we're not allowed to make videos about it on YouTube. Absolutely not. Demonetized. What are you doing? Trying to profit off a tragedy. But the amount of surrounding content that's not just, this is fucking awful, what a tragedy, but is, oh, we've got opinions about this and, opinions about that, and have you heard this conspiracy about who's involved with that? And like, hang on, I don't even know if I can speak on these things properly, let alone listen to somebody debate perspectives and opinions on, Donald Trump coming out with his points to make and then everyone having an opinion on that. It seems a bit soon, doesn't it? The real I haven't seen the real footage. I haven't seen that. Again, I think this is a difference in culture. In America, it must be a lot, like I said, a lot more real and a lot more raw and a lot more presented on the media more. I remember crying about Arthur Labino Hughes, so I know what you mean, yeah. You take on that burden of grief because they're not just those people's kids, they're everyone's kids, aren't they? They're our kids, they're society's kids. There but for the grace of God go I. That could be your neighbour and your friend. Your neighbour is your friend. Yeah, I get that. And that's okay as well, isn't it? To have that emotion and to feel that. In fact, that's the correct emotion to feel. Yeah. Yeah, it is, and it's your multiple ways here. Your body literally physically telling you there are in ways that we can't hold back, crying, having a little heart palpitation thing. Yeah, those sort of things are absolutely your body's way of letting it out, I guess. Letting it out. When I tell my pro-gun friends it doesn't happen anywhere else, there's no connection made. It's so far down the fucking pipe hole. It's so culturally far down the pipe hole, isn't it? It's just ridiculous. Like, sometimes I think, why can't we all just take a step back and just reassess things? Why does it have to matter what was laid in a constitution 100 years ago? Why does it have to matter what, so-and-so thinks we should do from 100 years ago? Like, what about right now? What about if we just start from now? What rules would you make? Would you allow this? What about that? It just seems silly, doesn't it? It just seems fucking ridiculous. And yeah, we don't have the same things happen in the UK. We do have crimes, we do have knife stabbings, we do have people with vendettas carrying out horrible crimes, but yeah, we don't have those sort of crimes. Because I wouldn't be able to go out and get my hands on a gun. And if I could, it wouldn't dispense bullets at such a rate. It does seem weird, doesn't it? It does. Like, to me, it's just... We had a mass shooting. Well, I mean, we have... Have we had a mass shooting? I don't remember one. I just... yeah, it's this other form of guns, isn't it? It's this, you know, people, you know, I remember a shotgun being discharged in our local area. It was in the news, you know, people, things like that. But you're not going to go on like the same kind of Grand Theft Auto gun rampage. It's just not going to happen. And but it's more than that. It's this conditioning of... I wonder if you armed everyone in the UK, whether we'd suddenly have loads of gun violence. Probably we would, wouldn't we? We probably would. But it's this... I don't quite know how to explain it. Yeah, I suppose... No, I suppose I just totally agree, and I totally think that if you don't have access to the guns in your society, which, why would you? There are so many things we regulate for. You know, you don't have access to strong acids, do you? You know, you don't have access to, like... There's quite a lot of things I shouldn't really be allowed to mess with. And I would put guns in that bracket and then I'd just be done with that. And the idea that it happens everywhere is silly, because it doesn't happen everywhere. Certainly not in the same numbers, certainly not at the same rate. Tell you what does happen everywhere, though, is mental health issues that lead to people lashing out in strange ways. That's a human thing. But... yeah, I just, I don't know. We have had some attacks, yeah. People can get access. There are, you know, some sort of loops around everywhere, I suppose. I mean, I remember when I was in America, I did find... We went to the barber, and the barber had a gun on the side. Like, they had their gun, they took it out, and they put it on the side while they cut my hair. Or I didn't get my hair cut, Eddie Hall did, but while they cut his hair, and I used the camera. They put the gun on the side, and I was like, wow. The fellow was just like, yeah, you gotta have one of these. You know, gotta have one of these. Just like, wow. Like, that scared me. It made me feel on edge. Just the fact that there was one in the room. And so it is a different social thing. But you get kids growing up around our way that are underprivileged, that are in gangs, that wouldn't feel that way, that would probably have their own gun. But for guns to be the #1 cause of death for your children is fucking ridiculous, isn't it? And hunting high-capacity weapons. Again, there's no need for a high-capacity weapon for hunting. There's no need for hunting. Full stop. Is there? So there's no argument there. And if you want a weapon for hunting, and that is going to be licensed and regulated, then let it be like... Let's start from a position of there are no guns, and then start licensing the guns that you want to license and allow. You know, let's hear the reasonable arguments for using a certain kind of gun for hunting, and if we agree, then we can allow you to use that gun, and only under a very regulated system. Maybe you have to, you know, maybe you're not allowed to just sort of keep them at your house. I don't know. Like, imagine if we just started from now, though. You certainly wouldn't be like, give everyone a gun, would you? It'd be fucking ridiculous. Yeah. I'm not the first to talk about this either, and it's not a new concept, is it? You know, bowling for Columbine has happened. It's not a new concept. I think for me, the thing that marks this most recent one is the tragic age. You know, well, they're all tragic. Columbine was tragic as well, wasn't it? But it was awful. And the worst thing, I guess, is that over the last 5 years... since the last incident, since the incident before, nothing has been done, but people worry more about securing schools, providing security guards, who's got a gun, and less about why someone might go from the age of 13 to 18 and end up wanting to do that. Because that lad, 5 years ago, was just a kid himself. You know, 5 years ago, if someone had made that interception then, this wouldn't be happening, would it? want to tell you a funny story, and Snippies, you'll like this. This will distract you. It'll be... I don't know what the fucking point of this story is. I don't know where it goes, but this is what happened to me today, just now. Right? Fucking hell. So, I want to tell you... I'm just going to do this as a funny story to just distract us for a bit, because I don't have the answers for this thing. And if you're feeling these things, I think the most important... Like, I'm concerned about your health, mainly. Because you've told me, and what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is that you're having a physiological reaction to the stress, and like you said, grief. I'll use grief is the best word for it. It covers lots of things, grief, doesn't it? A physiological reaction to the grief, and it's totally understandable because of the situation you're in, the place you work, the things you care about. Some people don't see the real life in the same way, the rawness. You know, you showed, maybe it's not just that as well. Maybe every day at work you pick up a little bit more of that burden. You know, you put something else in your backpack that you see that maybe I don't, maybe Mary doesn't, you know. You see some other things that are tragic as well, and so it's totally normal to feel like that. And I think on a like individual level, if your body, like, this is the advice I've been given by you, I suppose, isn't it? If your body's giving you those messages, then listen to it. And there's no quick fix, easy solution. Certainly not to the society's problems. But taking a break, recharging your batteries, and doing things that make you feel good are important, aren't they? Yeah. The police not going in for the hour, yeah. I mean, that argument, the good guys with the gun, is just fucking ridiculous. It's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Well, I just explained it. Like 13, when the lad was 13, he didn't even have a gun. He was just a kid. So the things that can stop bad people are not turning people into bad people through societal ignorance. You know, not us catching people before they fall, as they fall. It's that sort of thing. It's, you're not, once a guy's got mad enough to want to go and do something like this, or a girl or anyone, you know, when someone's lost it to this extent, then I do also agree that access might not be the main issue even. Obviously it makes it easier for them, but they'll still do something, won't they? They'll still have a bad time and make other people have a bad time. As a society, I can't believe that, like, Donald Trump is the one that shocked me the most this last week with his comments. It's because you've been in charge for a good chunk of time there, Donald, and this is the most affluent country in the world. Got the most money per capita. We're doing the best. You know, UK and England, we both pride ourselves on being the most civilized. UK and America, we both pride ourselves on being like the most civilized, forward-thinking countries. We've got the democracies. We've got the modernism. You know, we've got the equal societies. And yet, we can't stop these things from happening. What's going on? What's going on? How have we allowed that on our watch? And it's not your fault, Snips, is it? You're picking up the pieces. It's the people like Donald Trump, or... I mean, I was talking about politics earlier and saying that if you're not a lifetime career politician, if you don't stay in it even after you've had your glory, you know, maybe you're to fault. Biden's been in it his whole life. I don't know what his opinions are. I'm not trying to get political, but what I'm saying is, this is our watch. We obviously think a certain way. I'm assuming 90% of Americans probably think a certain way. I don't know what has to change necessarily in America, but like, it does seem weird to me that, like I said, like, if you heard about it happening in Saudi Arabia, you know what I mean? If you heard about it happening in Syria, it'd be something on the news and you'd think, fucking, that's awful. And we have, a lot of kids have been killed in Syria and I've felt awful for them. But for it to be happening in, you know, the same country where you've got Hollywood, and the same country where you've got, like, do you know what I mean? It just... You don't see girls doing this. Good point. Yeah, I suppose. You probably will one day if things don't change. That sounds terrible to say, doesn't it? But, however, there is something to bring out of that. I know why. I know why. I'll just bring up a picture. It happens in Africa and other countries that you get these children drafted into military service, children as soldiers, and it happens a lot in Africa. The main psychological forces at play are young boys. They're entering into adulthood as a man. Their testosterone, something to do with conflict. I agree. I agree. There's a lot of different factors rolled in. They harness it. This is the best example of it. Is they harness it for enlisting and, I guess, enslaving child soldiers in some of these countries. There's some girls with guns, though. Look, there's some girls with guns, but that's not the best example. It's this that I'm talking about. It's a big problem in Africa, and you'd never guess who, but Jordan Peterson got a degree in understanding the African conflicts and the motivation behind, or the ability to motivate young people to be child soldiers. Jordan Peterson did that. He got a degree in that. Before all this fame and before all that sort of stuff, he'd got a degree in, I think it was Somalia. He studied the Somali conflict and the way they enlisted child soldiers. And then what Jordan Peterson did is he used those same techniques to motivate young American children to buy his book. But Jordan Peterson wrote a book about how to be how to be a good man. Peterson, how to be a young man, becoming a man, a guide for a better future. Like, Jordan Peterson is all about mobilizing these young men, because he understands how to mobilize those young men with the same psychology that they use to mobilize child soldiers. So there is, you're right, there is a factor behind young men being involved in these sort of crimes, and there's a lot of research and investigation into it. And sadly, someone like Jordan Peterson would use that exact same thing, and now he's quite a darling of the young right wing, isn't he? The young right wing, the young Trump supporter thinks Jordan Peterson's great because he's got a life-changing message for young men. So Jordan Peterson is the person that understands that probably the most out of our society, and yet manipulates it for his own ends, just like these people who force children to fight. But you're right, there is a combination, what am I trying to say? There's a correlation there. But here is a girl with a gun. I think that in the future, they'll be able to pull those same tricks on females as well. And, who knows where it'll end. But also, another reason in these sort of countries, the African countries, maybe more, is that women maybe are held down more socially. You know what I mean? Maybe you're not allowed to go and fight in the army as much. If it's a strict Islamic state-run army, maybe you're not allowed in it if you're a woman. But all this child soldiering, this is so fucked up, isn't it? Like, it's absolutely fucked. So that's been going on for a long, long time, and I guess it plays into the same thing. There's a whole list of men like Jordan Peterson influencing young men and boys. They're not just influencing them; they're realizing it's like harnessing energy. You see a lot of angry young men out there, don't you? There's a lot of angry young men. So if you can talk to the angry young men, I mean, a lot of them are reasonably well off. They work jobs. They're lucky to hold that privileged position in society of being young, white, and male. So, a lot of them have got some opportunities. They might have some spare cash. So if you can harness that energy, you're doing all right. I saw women with guns in Ukraine trying to make it look sexy. So yeah, now it's a modern world as well, isn't it? Now it's a modern world. You will get more women. There's women boxers now, and you wouldn't have previously said that boxing is an appealing sport to women. But you'll get more of a broad spectrum these days. But in America, the worst case things that have happened more recently have been more male dominated. And maybe it's okay, another aspect though, maybe men are suffering with mental health conditions worse. Maybe they feel they can't talk to people. Maybe young men feel that they should shoulder the burden of being tough. Maybe young men, crack because of these sort of things. Maybe they also have access to firearms and more of that culture. Maybe there's that involved as well. It's a complex melting pot, isn't it? It's a complex melting pot. So, and the right-wing politicians posing with guns, bikinis and guns, it's about that selling sex, isn't it? Selling power and sex. So I can see why they'd do that, yeah. Yeah, the gun is an emblem of power. Like, if you're holding the gun, it's not so scary, is it? If you're worried about the effects of the gun, it's not so good. You might want to get your own gun. That's their whole shtick, isn't it? If you're worried about guns, get a gun. And if you're holding it, isn't it nice and powerful? Don't you feel good? It's all tied in, isn't it? Got the Genshin Impact picture up. Not having a picture of a gun. Chuff your gun. Let's put the fire back on. Jeez, man. I'll tell you my little story in a second. But first, we're going to keep talking about this. When I was a kid, I actually had a toy gun. When I was a kid, I had little army men, little soldiers. As I grew up, I actually got an air rifle, did target practice. I had a catapult. I once shot a pheasant. Didn't kill it. The air rifle wasn't powerful enough to kill it. It flew off. But I shot it. I wasn't a vegan when I was a kid. I was doing what I was taught by my peers. My dad took me shooting. I was enamoured with the ideas of combat and army men. That was normal. It wasn't like no one said, that's weird. What the fuck are you into? They were like, no, that's quite cool. Like, here's an army jacket. Enjoy yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like, as a young boy, my infatuation with organised violence was promoted. It's quite a masculine thing to do. Well done. Here's an army jacket. Like, we'll take you to the army surplus store. Look, this is what the army surplus... I remember going to the army surplus store and going like, wow, look at all this stuff. The army men use this. Can I have a hat like that, Daddy? And yeah, absolutely. No worries. Protectors of our faith, defenders of our country, There's almost like pride wrapped up in it, isn't there? It's so weird. But I didn't end up going and wanting to shoot anyone. And when I felt really depressed, it didn't come through me that I wanted to release that into the world, like you said about this energy, as vengeful energy in that way. So maybe I suppose as well, there's another aspect of it, which is America is so big and there's so many people and you've got this problem that they've all got access to the guns. So when, like, this guy is probably one in a million, isn't he, to have done this? Like, you've got to be properly, like I said, I've been depressed, but I didn't feel like doing that. So you've probably got to, I don't know what it's come to. I can't, on Mental Health Monday, we talk about mental health all the time. I can't even fathom where you're coming from to do that. I can't even, like, in the same way as you, Snips, it's like shock. It's like, I can't understand it. Can't process it. It won't go in properly. So I don't really know how to fix it. Because I remember being a kid and, running around with a paintball gun or what have you. Laser Quest. But that's where that ended for me. I don't know. And yeah, Mary's saying it as well. I think you need time out. I think it's only fair in any human being's capacity to deal with stuff that you recognise the science and take a nice break because you deserve it. Like, this hasn't been... How do I explain this? Do you remember I was talking to you about Arthur and the outpouring of grief, but it was actually an outpouring of joy, in a way. It was a weird thing. You remember, and you said that I identified with him because I saw myself in him as a little boy. The little boy, and he loved Birmingham. And the people came together and... See, I'm going to cry about this now. And the football team and the banners and You know, the people came out to show their love for this kid. And we all felt that outpouring of love. Even though we were sad, like it was a tragedy. I find it confusing still. Still, I find it a tragedy that makes me sad, but an outpouring of love from a community that makes me hopeful. I think that's part of what, you know, America's in at the moment, isn't it? I think that's the kind of, you know, I think that's where you've got to take it, isn't it? I think it's got to become about, for a short while, you personally need an absolute break from thinking about it. And for a short while, the country needs to just grieve, to just be silent. You know that minute silence they do, you know, no one needs to say anything political. No one needs to fucking start ranting about this. You need, like, just a fucking week to just be like, fuck. That's so fucked. More details will come out. The news will chase it down. But, you know, as a country, what you need, or, you know, I think what you will do is, after the shock and the anger, there's this love, isn't there? The whole reason, that you're upset, you know. Yeah, non-accidental, yeah, exactly. So, but that love, like I say, let's focus on the love as well. Let's focus on the love. I'm going to turn that off and now and go back to the fire, because it does make me sad as well. But it's an outpouring of love from a community that won't accept this. You know, you are just one of many people that at the moment are in absolute shock and grief. But hopefully the knock-on effect is that the community just won't accept it. Eventually, the NRA will become so... There must be a tipping point. You know, they can't be that powerful. There must be a tipping point. The community just won't accept it. I hope. And the way that we'll show that is through love. It's not through combat. Because otherwise they're winning. They'll sell us a gun. It's not about who's got the biggest gun, mate. It's about who loves each other the most and therefore won't even carry one, you know? Yeah, I have to say, I keep hoping it. You know, Arthur wasn't the last. There will be more. It's an ongoing process. I don't know how to fix it. I wish I could. I can't. But I think the most important thing for your mental health, in order for us to be... One of the fucked up things about our struggles, Mary, Snippies, everyone else that's part of our, you know, growing crew, is that we feel these things, so we take them hard. And then we're the people that go out and fight the good fight. So, like, for the bad actors in the world, for the people that don't give a shit, for the Donald Trumps, it's easier for them because they don't feel these struggles. So they can easily just get out of bed in the morning and start pumping out some more shit. But we've got to deal with these struggles and fight the good fight. Well, it's okay to put down the sword for a bit. You know, it's absolutely okay to say, I've done some training, I've done some fighting, I need to do some resting. It's absolutely fine to acknowledge that, isn't it? Do you remember we were looking at Noel? We were looking at Noel, and we said the best way to be an effective knight was to get a rest, so that you could then train harder. Like, it is important. Like, if it's more important for the people that want to fight the good fight, because we are affected more by these things. So don't beat yourself up. You know, absolutely forgive yourself and give yourself that time. Don't in any way think that you should, like, I keep saying it, I said it in that song, in the song Stand Over, I can't help feeling alone, the world is out of control, I know I'm depressed, but my response is correct. Like, there's nothing wrong with what you're feeling. It's not like the panic attack thing, like, you feel so scared and so worried that there's something wrong with you. Like, literally physically. But like I'm saying, like, isn't that like me vocalising like that? I'm afraid there's something wrong with me. I'm afraid there's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with us. You know, there's nothing wrong with us. Hello, new time chatter from Chicago. Chicago's got one of the biggest gun problems in the world, hasn't it? Like, it's it's insane how frequently gun violence is taking place in Chicago. You didn't fail those kids though. You know, not you personally, not us, the good team. Like, we didn't fail them. I don't know how to say this without sounding... Alright, it's Lindsay Ashcroft. Oh, hello, Lindsay. Hello, Lindsay. It's funny how we've all got these funny names, isn't it? Got these funny names. You didn't, like... I want to say this, but I don't want it to sound harsh and make us even more upset, but... like, in terms of numbers, our taxpayers' money, I said it earlier in the other stream, our taxpayers' money goes into the bombs that go out and blow up Syrian kids and Afghanistani kids, and, you know, we're really lucky in our societies, in actual fact, that most of our kids get through to adulthood. So we haven't failed them. We've done a really good job in our societies, in the main, in general. And you do a really good job, Snips, on a day-to-day basis. For everyone that's listening, I hope you don't mind me saying, I'm sure that it'll be fine. Snips works in medical care for children. So she's seeing this like on a day-to-day basis. You do a really good job. You're like all the children. It's weird to think of it, isn't it? But we are, in the main, saving all those children, and then, you know, these ones have not been failed by us, but more likely failed by the people that promote that gun bullshit and all that, you know. More failed by the other people, more let down by other people. But you've got to make sure to focus and remember that out of the fraction of society that we sadly, and I still think it's disgusting that our society allows people to slip through the net, but the other side of that is you are the net. You are the net. You're catching so many more people. So if you yourself feel that you're letting people down, then that's a byproduct of a fucked up society, because you're the people that deserve the praise and the credit. I watched a programme the other day, and it was a bit cheesy, to be honest. It was Ant and Dec. What was it? It was Ant and Dec. Oh, I can't do this, can I? Because I get kicked off the internet. Ant and Dec. Was it Pride of Britain? I mean, it was something like that. It was the Prince's Trust. It was the Prince's Trust. Hang on. Prince's Trust. Nurse. I wonder if it's got it. They had the Prince's Trust is in the UK. It was on the telly just the other day. I'm surprised. Normally when things are on the telly, they get hacked to bits and put on YouTube the next day, don't they? Ant and Dec, Prince's Trust, 2022, ITV. I mean, ITV themselves would hack it to bits and put it on the telly. No? Here it is. No? Just photographs. Well, the concept is that the Prince's Trust is a charity run by the Prince, you know, Prince Chuffing Charles. And they give out awards, look. And it's not just like Pride of Britain, well done for being disabled. I find those awards a little bit sickly, to be honest. You know, you're a fighter, well done. Yeah, I get it. You know, well done for being disabled. But like, this is actually slightly different to that. What they've done is they've highlighted people who deserve recognition in society. The one that I wanted to highlight, I can't see if I can see her on the stage there. She definitely was on the stage at some point. There she is. She's this lady here. This lady here was born with a skin condition, psoriasis, and she had it quite bad, and she had like serious health problems. So she was in hospital when she was a kid. You'll like this, Snippies. This is to do with you. She was in hospital when she was a kid, and she realised when she was a kid, and they told her in hospital, you're not going to be able to live the same normal life as other kids. You're going to have troubles when you grow up. You're going to have these problems. Well done for being disabled. It was a bit like that, you know. But it goes on. It's not just well done for being disabled. It's more than that. It's what she did with her life then, when she said to herself that she wanted to do something for other people, because these people that have helped her have got her to where she is. She recovered. She is living a more normal life, you would say. You know, she got through these things because of the help that was offered to her. So you know what she did? She became a nurse. She became a nurse, and she works all the hours God sends, being a chuffing nurse now. Like, she's giving back to society because of the people that gave to her. And the Prince's Trust was the charity that enabled her to get into nursing, that gave her I think it was a grant for education, or an avenue into education despite disability issues. So that's why she's on the Prince's Trust Awards, is because they wanted to give her an award for succeeding in life, and she wanted to say thank you to them for helping her. Like, some of these awards are just like, so and so lost their leg and it's been tragic, and here's an award, aren't they lovely? But this is a step on from that, isn't it? These people have had the tragedy, but they've gone through it and out the other side, and they've impacted in a more positive way on the world. It's another reason I like the royal family, I'll have you know. Not to get political about that, it's a joke. But, it's all right for the Prince, isn't it? He's got things going on. So he's helping by organising these sort of things. So the Prince's Trust Awards was real. It was really good. It was on the telly the other day, and it was one of those that, bit of a cry, but in a good way. So you don't know now, whilst we're suffering now, whilst we're worried now about what's just recently happened, we don't know who's been affected by that, who's going to come out the other side and go on and do something great with their life. Like, we don't know that. So we've got to reflect on what could come out of it in a positive way. And for you personally, I'd say, you deserve an award like this. Everyone does. That's the issue with it. The Prince's Trust highlights particular people, but anyone who struggled to get into work because of a disability, anyone who found it difficult in childhood but came through it, anyone who works a tough job with difficult hours like you, and sees things that the average person doesn't have to, for the benefit of you doing it for them, that has to burden those troubles. They all deserve the awards, don't they? But they don't all get them. I make sure to say thank you, Heidi, whenever we're in, if you're ever in a little situation, if you ever go and get your arm put in a plaster cast or whatever, I always thank every single person I encounter, everyone, always saying thank you to people and making them very aware how grateful I am that they come into work every day and do something heroic, just on a day-to-day, normal day-to-day basis. Yeah. You were able to help your urgent people get set up for a student loan forgiveness program. Wow, student loans can get forgiven. That's quite cool. I wish mine did. I've got a student loan. It gets written off after a certain number of years if I don't earn enough money, and I'm actually approaching that, so I never thought I would. Yeah, and he's going to give something back. Look, people do it, don't they? Something good happens to them and they pass that on. So it does happen. There is good in the world, and we don't highlight this on the news in the same way as that bad stuff. And I'm not trying to discount the bad stuff in any way, but Mental Health Monday, I'm trying to help us through it. That's the main thing. So I hope that, after the nation, because I'm talking to America, I'm not in America, but I hope the nation has a chance to breathe out and just think, fucking hell, there will be a process of grief. There will be, a memorial, there'll be a debate. And then after all that shit, it's not about who wins the debate and how many charity buttons we sell. It's about, on a one-to-one basis, how people actually look themselves in the mirror and say, do you know what? I don't know if I can pick up that gun and strap it today. I don't know if I agree with what's been said. I just don't feel it inside. The response from these tragedies has made me change my feelings. I wonder if that's a knock-on effect. Not breathe out and forget, but like I said, for them, after all that processing, to look at yourself in the mirror a bit differently. I wonder that. It won't happen on a day-to-day basis with every individual, but it might change some lives, mightn't it? And the bottom line is, we have to be able to reach these people before they pick up the weapons and before they lose their marbles and before they get really angry. And, we have to be able to reach these people when they're reachable. That's what we need to do. That's the main thing about that. So now I'm going to tell you a little story, right? And it's going to be a random one, but I don't know how to deal with it. So it happened to me just earlier. Two stories, really. One, it's gonna blow your mind in a positive way as well. So you remember that chat's there, I'm here, yeah. You remember that I'd get sad about my fencing coach who died, my great mentor who I looked up to so much, and was sadly, in my opinion, died a little bit too soon. I get sad about that, don't I? You know that. My great mentor who kept me on the straight and narrow when I was a bit of a naughty young chuffer, who helped me to become the man that I was, to help me to become a teacher and a fencing trainer in my own right, and helped me to become, to get through my own struggles. I went to the World Championships, I represented my country, I was proud. I learned a lot from that man. I get sad because he died recently. Through the COVID, wasn't able to go to his funeral or anything. I used to cut his hair even, after, he used to come to my hairdressers and get his hair cut. Anyway, look, the funny thing that happened was I was walking my dog. Two funny things happened to me today. One, I was walking the dog and I saw this guy, it's making me feel emotional now. I saw this guy and he was wearing the tracksuit that my coach used to wear. He had the same emblem on the front from our school fencing master, and he was getting in and out of a car in one of the houses, and I was walking up the road. I was like, that's David used to wear that. And he turned and walked into his house, and on the back it said Kes Fencing, and I was like, this is fucking weird. He must be something to do with the fencing club, obviously. Because at first I did a double take, because I thought that's my coach used to wear that. And as I approached closer, he came out, and I went over to him, I was like, Chris, I know him. We went on fencing competitions together to Germany in the past. He was part of the British team when I was part of the British team. And years have gone by. He's now the head coach at Kes. He's now doing the job that my old fencing mentor used to do. He's doing it. He lives up the road. He's just moved in. Yeah, that's cool. So I said I was just passing, because walking the dog and what have you, but I'll drop in and, I'll give him a card, maybe we'll have a chat, and, I might even try and get him, he'll think I'm still back then, remember what I was saying, back then I was a fucking off the rails, back then I had a Mohican and a pierced face. He probably thinks I'm still off the rails, look at me, I'm a chuffer. So, but I might try and get him in for a chat. About some of the old days, and about mentoring kids, and about teaching young people, and about instilling that sense of achievement and growth, and about the lessons we learned together along the way, and about the lessons he's learned, that I haven't, because he's gone on and followed a career in teaching. I might question him about those sort of, if we could, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a chuffer, look at me helping people, yeah, but, I'm dressed like, I haven't had a shower, I'm dressed like a scruff bag, I've got my beard growing. Like he's got his shit together, he's wearing the tracksuit, he's now doing the head coach's job, probably got a family and kids and shit, and I'm scruffy chuffer, smoking, I'm on the internet talking a load of chuff, scruffy chuffer, so, anyway, but yeah, I might be able to get him in here and have a chat about stuff, put it on a podcast. I might be able to sound him out about it. I don't know. I might have a little friend up the road. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. Or maybe, the fact that I'm such a chuffer might make people who are in charge of large groups of children slightly question their association with me. I don't think so. I've got a DBS check or whatever they call them, because I'm a qualified fencing coach myself. And of course, I wouldn't be smoking any weed around any kids, but I've just mentioned it then again. We've talked about it on stream. But do you know what I'm saying? There's that thing that I have hanging over me and think, oh God, they'll probably think I'm a chuffer. But anyway, so that was quite cool, wasn't it? But then something else happened, right? You enjoy deliberately looking like a chuffer. That's true. That's true. I don't mind. You see, the thing was, if I'd known I was going to run into an old friend that I haven't seen for absolutely ages, and they were going to be doing something that I admire, like that role, that responsibility, head coach at the old club, I admire that. Like, I would have just at least had a shower. I wouldn't have walked past on my dog walk with my rough dog walking clothes on, like, fag half out my mouth. I'd have at least had a shower. He actually said he's still doing the hairdressing, and I said no, I had to close it during COVID. Well, it wasn't during COVID. It was before that. I'd made a film, didn't I, and all that. But do you know what I mean? I was like, they're like, you know, are you doing all right for yourself? And I'm like, no, I don't. Nowadays, I've restarted my media career from scratch. I didn't mention streaming. I was like, yeah, you know, doing all right. Yeah, conserving resources. Yeah, there's that. Like, you know, don't shower, save the world. Just itching my neck now because I feel dirty. But yeah, so that happened and it was good. It was positive. It is positive. Friend up the road. I don't know where it'll go. But so much of my heart is in that fencing club. So much of my, so much of what makes, you know, honour is slightly different. My dad taught me an honour code before I even started fencing, but so much of my honour, so much of what I understand as being honourable. I mean, the man was a major in the army, Major David Kirby. He was my mentor. He was a major in the army, so you know he had some sort of sense of ethic. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, yeah. Then the other thing that happened, right, and this is well weird, so this just gets weird. So you might, I don't know what you'll think of this. I don't know what I think of this, to be honest. It just gets so fucking weird. So I've been for the dog walk, and I'm driving back, because I'd gone to the big fields after that. I've driven back. I'm coming down the road, and it's a bit of a hill. I'm coming down it, and coming up it is a fella in a wheelchair. But he's not in a normal situation in the wheelchair. He appears to be pushing himself on the wheelchair, but also dragging himself with his leg. I say leg. Dragging himself as well with the leg, like having a right go at it. And as I'm approaching, I'm thinking two things. Three things, to be honest. One was Mental Health Mondays in 10 minutes. I've got to get on with this. Dog walk late, get back, set up the computer, let's go. I've got that on my mind. I've got an appointment to keep. The second thing is I don't want to hit this chuffer with my car. He's having a right, you know, he could swerve anywhere. He's having a right go. It's not a strong, steep hill. It's just a shallow hill. But in a wheelchair, it's going to be a chuff. So I go slowly, and I'm really trying to avoid this guy because he's in the road. He's not on the pavement. He's in the road. Yeah? And there's speed humps on that road as well, so I don't know how that helps. He's on the road. And as I go past really slowly, I get a reasonable look at I'm not staring. I don't want to be rude and stare at the guy. He's having a bit of trouble. But this goes through my mind. Should I pull over and push him up the street? Should I pull over and push him up the street? What do you think? Like, in one way, yeah, because he's struggling in a way, isn't he? But in another way, isn't that his exercise for the day? Like, if he's got a wheelchair, he's probably got one of those with the stick that does it automatically if you don't want to have to go up the hill and push yourself. Some people go out in their wheelchairs and do sports. You know, I wouldn't go around just saying, oh, do you need me to push you? Like, it's kind of condescending. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's condescending for someone in a wheelchair for me to go over and say, why don't I take over? You appear to be struggling. But, on the other hand, isn't it good neighbourly for me to go over and say, do you need a hand? I'll pull over the car. I don't mind. Mental Health Monday can wait. I'll just get you up this hill. Like, you could ask them, you see. You could ask them. So that went through my mind. And then this other thing happened that put me off. I'll be honest, it put me off. But it shouldn't. It should be the opposite, and I'll explain why. As I was thinking this, and I'm going really slow, and you know, the moment is passing because I'm going past. And by the time I've like got down over this next bit, I'm round this next, because it's a little housing estate, I'm in the next corner. By the time I've thought, maybe I should go and, you know, pull the car. And you just say to yourself, don't you? You say to yourself, look, I'm already halfway home now. Mental Health Monday's nearly on. He's got his own shit to deal with. Like, if he didn't want to be in that wheelchair pushing himself up the hill, he'd have gone a different route, or he'd have used the electric chair, or got his other, do you know what I mean? Like, maybe I veered on the side of not doing it. They're my reasons. But this other thing went through my mind, maybe I should. But as I got close and slow, I noticed, I know the chuffer. It was a lad who, I won't say his proper name on the internet, because I don't know how he'd feel about that. But he didn't always have one leg. As far as I knew him, he had two. And he didn't always look the way he looked in that wheelchair, because he was standing up. And he looked quite, like, he put on a bit of weight. So his face looked different. About 10 years older, put on a bit of weight. But I knew the chuffer when we were DJing back in the day, when we were into the drum and bass music and we were always messing about on the decks. He wasn't like my best mate or anything. He was from a slightly different village, slightly different crew. But he was into the same music, used to come to the same gigs. He was friends with some people who I was friends with. So he's a friend of a friend, he was a friend. You know, I'd call him a friend. I wouldn't say he's not my friend, but at the same time, if I was writing a list for a party, he wouldn't just automatically go straight on the top of the, you know, he wasn't in my phone book on my phone, put it like that. He wasn't in my phone book on my phone. But, you know, it's so-and-so and so-and-so, and oh, there's so-and-so, you know, there he is. He's a mate. You all right, how's it going, mate? Yeah, do you want a beer? I'm just going up the bar. I'd buy him a beer. Wouldn't think twice about doing that. He's a mate. I think he went to the same college as me, maybe. You know, he's a lad from round our way. And his DJ name was Spin Out, DJ Spin Out. And also, his girlfriend at the time, I don't think they're still going out, you know, it's years later now, but his girlfriend at the time, I remember her first name, who she is, you know, all that stuff. So, like, I know them. I know these people. You know people around your way. But I didn't recognise him straight off because he'd put on a bit of weight and he was in a fucking wheelchair and he'd lost a leg. So the reason that on top of that then, instead of pulling over and saying, look, I'm going to go back and help that chuffer, I thought, fucking hell, that's going to get so, like, I'm going to have to say, how are you doing? You know, like I felt, because I haven't had a shower. Not only would I feel bad because I haven't had a shower, but, you know, and because COVID and my life prospects, COVID made them go downhill. You know, because of that. Not only that, but because I know, and I'd have to say, well, obviously, I don't appear to be doing that well. No shave, smelly. What happened to your hairdressers? Are you still doing the films? Like, you know, I don't appear to be doing that well, but you appear to be having the right fucking day of it. Where's your fucking leg, mate? What's happened to that? Like, of all the awkward conversations you could have in the world, I noticed that you've lost your leg. Is a right fucker, isn't it? I'm doing great. I tell you what, I'm happy enough. There are a couple of things in my life that I could have to make me a little happier. Financial security. I don't need to be rich, but knowing that I didn't have to worry, that would be nice. And the second thing, I mean, honestly, I'm honest about that, even though I don't pursue finance and, you know, I don't go and work in the bank job and try and be the manager and, you know, but security would be nice. And then the other one is a long-term relationship and children. That would be nice too. But, you know, you can't force these things, can you? Yeah, I'm moving forward on my own path. I'm happy with that. And he was moving forward on his. He was going up the hill. He obviously needed the exercise, not being funny about his weight, not having a joke about it, but I didn't recognise him because he'd put on a bit of weight. Not being mean. You probably do when you've lost a leg, don't you? So he was doing maybe he was just doing his exercise. I reasoned it out in my brain. Once he gets to the top of that hill, he'll feel a sense of accomplishment and he's doing his daily exercise. That's why he's out. So, you know, if you wanted to get the mobility scooter and have it do it for him, he probably could. If you've lost a leg, they'll probably give you one of them. So, you know, he probably got an electric wheelchair. He's probably out for a workout. But I didn't want to have the conversation. As shameful as it is, I didn't want to say, oh, I haven't seen you for 10 years. Oh, yeah, well, you know, before COVID, I was doing a bit better. Made a film or two and... Yeah, what's happened to your leg? I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to go there. Yep, enjoy the journey. You know, smell the pines. Smell the pines. That is the main thing. I mean, I don't know, Mental Health Monday, might as well. But I do worry that there is obviously a tipping point. You get older and there are things that you may feel you wanted that become out of reach in a way. I've still got time. You know, there's still time for those goals, like I said. In order for me to feel proud about the person I am, I think I would have to see, like, a good example is, after bumping into my friend up the road, if I were to be able to pass on some of this, I mean, in context of what we're talking about today with those kids and that kid that did that thing, and I think it's not just good enough for me to have learned these good lessons and to feel that I'm in some way noble. I mean, that's the right word for it. Like, you know, choosing to do the ethical thing. Not trying to say I'm such a good person or so vain about it, but you know what I mean. But I think it's important that I should be able to pass that on. I think it's important that I should be able to, you know, what I feel about David, who taught me those lessons, the grief I have for the things I miss or what have you, but it all counts for shit if the next generation don't get that from me. Do you know what I mean? That's one of the reasons I'm here on the internet, isn't it? Getting things off the top shelf. Yeah, I know. Thank you for these things. Thank you. And you're good too, and we're all good. But thank you. I graciously receive your compliment. Yes. But I'll still maintain my work here is not done, is it? I'd quite like to be able to have a couple of kids myself and for them to be nice people and for me to have passed that on in that way and for them to feel, really importantly, I think I've learned how to be a good dad not because my dad was the best dad in the world. Like, he's taught me some really good lessons and I love him, obviously. Maybe it's not obvious, but I do. But I don't see him as much as I should. Our relationship is not as good as it should be. And that's not all my fault. I'll just say that. So I think that what I really have to offer is that I would be a really good parent. I'm not a very good money earner. But, I'd be a really good parent. But it worries me that I don't get the opportunity, or I won't get the opportunity. And having been the product of divorce, even if I got the opportunity, it would scare me that it would be taken away from me. I don't know. That would be nice, though. That would be a thing that I'd like to do. And it would have to happen in the next sort of 5 to 10 years. Otherwise, I'd just get too old to be that person that I'd like to be for those children. But yeah, so that's something I'm scared of. But hopefully I'd be able to do that. That's what I mean, though. My work's not done. And if it's not that, if I get to a point where I have to reconsider my options, maybe foster, or I don't know what it is, but passing on these messages, it might just be as simple as getting back involved in the fencing and being a bit of a mentor to some kids and passing that on in that way. It's funny, I'm quite jealous of you in your daily life that you get to, make that difference to those people. Remember this lady here, if I go back to the web browsing, where's my buttons? This lady here in the awards, made her decisions, her life decisions based on her experiences from being in hospital at a young age. And, you might be making that difference for those people. So, yeah. I've got luxury of more time to physically make the kids, but to be there in their lives, I have to still be alive. It's no good just popping one out when I'm 60 and being like, oh, I'd have been a great dad to you. You should have seen me. I'd have been playing in the park with you when I was younger, but not now. Leave me alone now. I need to sleep. I don't know. Yeah. Now's not the time for my worries anyway. The main thing we can take from today has been that Mental Health Monday had no plan today, but we've covered some really interesting, deep things. And I think people live as if they're going to live forever. Yeah. I'm living in the present, which is a good thing. I guess that was something I've learned. That's a good point to alight on as well, is that I've learned that for mental health, if you live in the past and the worries of the past, or you live in the future that hasn't happened and the worries of the future, a lot of the time they're worries. Either way. But what mindfulness is about, and Snips, this is exactly this. Are you a surrogate? Yeah. If I was Elon Musk, I'd have it all sorted, wouldn't I? I wouldn't be firing my money up into space. I'd have a massive farm with an animal sanctuary, and all the people that were working on the animal sanctuary would all be foster kids, and we'd be, we'd get something done. We'd send people out into the world with good values, and they'd ripple out. Do you know what I mean? We'd be a drop-in centre for the less fortunate in a way. I don't know. Anyway, and yeah, I had my difficult doggy. That's a good point. I did my difficult doggy, that's true. So yeah, maybe I can get into that position at some point. Maybe I could end up, you know, talking directly to those kids. I think we all do in a way, don't we? We all do our best. And that was what I was going to light on this living in the present. Mindfulness, and for snippies, if you're having panic attacks, mindfulness is all about that, isn't it? It's all about just, look, what's happening realistically right in front of me right now? What can I... there are things I can't... There's a little phrase that the Alcoholics Anonymous say about... there are things in life that I can change, there are things in life I can't change, and I just need to have the wisdom to identify which is which. Because the things you can't change, you've just got to let them go, haven't you? And you're thinking about it, you're hurting yourself, or you're being hurt. It won't change the things you can't change. And for us, for our mental health, for our hearts, for our struggles, you need to... sometimes, it's like I was saying, take a break. Like a mental mindfulness helps us to just ground ourselves in the now and know what really is happening, and sort of... We've done a lot of talking. I'm going to just... I can't make sense of things sometimes unless I say them in weird ways, but... we've done a lot of talking, and a lot of our talking has been up here, in this head world, these ideas, this idea space, hasn't it? A lot of these talking ideas have been in this headspace. If you were out with the camping... Oh, bang the microphone around. If you're out with the camping, and that fire, when you sat around the fire, you got that headspace conversation, haven't you? You know what I mean? A lot of this talking is the headspace. And the mindfulness is the building the fire and getting it going. Setting up the tent, feeling the rain on your face. And all that headspace stuff, you literally have to take that hat off. Like, you can't build the fire. This is one of the problems. It's one of the problems of, like, you know, too much anxiety and stress, too much headspace problems stop us from... But I'm not just saying you can't build the fire with all this going on, but when you're building the fire, you're not in that headspace world. You're down here in the hands world, in the... Like you said earlier about getting dirty and mucky with the dog. And, you know, dog walking is another great example of it, isn't it? Like, Mary, you'll totally recognise this as well. Even though your stress comes from these situations... You're in the moment. You're actually literally in the moment with the dog, with Mary. You're literally in the moment, because if she's not, it's off. But, you know, it's hard to worry about the politics of gun control when you're feeling the rain on your face, when you're building the fire. Because our human brains, quite fortunately, are actually good at forgetting other things and getting on with the task at hand. And that mindfulness, that feeling, that tasting, that sensory direct one-to-one input takes us into the now and the reality, and, you know, helps us get through from moment to moment. And yeah, I don't think it's just... You're right about ignoring... It's not just ignoring feelings, but we're human beings, and... you know, in a car, this is another good example. You know, in a car, when you're driving a car... There'll be something going wrong in the engine, but you don't know there's something going wrong in the engine until that light comes on the dashboard. There's like a tipping point. The oil got too hot, or there's not enough oil, or something. I don't know. I'm not good at cars, so I'm the wrong person to ask. Damn it! Why is that light gone on it? Well, you remember me in the plane? I haven't got a clue. So, like, but when that light comes on, there's the tipping point. For you, it was a panic attack. For you know, when that but until that light came on, the oil was getting hotter or leaking or whatever the thing was. You know, there was a problem building. You'll know this from medicine. You'll know this from medical things. People don't turn up at the hospital until it's got to the tipping point. But if they just turned up 6 weeks before or 2 weeks before, or, you know, when it was just a little rash, instead of when it's... Do you know what I mean? Then it might have been easier to deal with. It's the same with the anxiety. It builds up like rain in a barrel, and you don't feel that the barrel is getting full because... You know, it's just your barrel. You just carry that. It's things in your backpack or whatever it is. You're used to carrying it until it gets to the tipping point, and you think, "Fucking hell! If I don't put this down, I'm going to fall over." Your red light comes on your dashboard, and then you're in the situation. But ignoring feelings is blaming yourself in a way. Remember, we're not to beat ourselves up. We're not to beat ourselves up. It's natural and it's human for things to build up on us, for things to build up within us, and then the alert signals start to come out. And then you realise and you think, God, for 6 weeks, I should have seen that. Could have seen that. Oh, do you remember 2 weeks ago when I was feeling like this? This is that now, isn't it? It's that now. It's easy in hindsight. It's easy in hindsight. And I agree with you, Mary, that if you're an anxious person, you have more opportunity to learn to manage it. And for Snips, I think that it's this complex, like perfect storm of working hard, being in this situation, the environments. We've discussed it earlier, so I'm not going to go over it again and make you feel bad about it again. But it's like that perfect storm of these events all coming together that tip the balance in your system. That usually your rain drainage system is okay and you can deal with things on a, but it's that extra, isn't it? It's that flooding of the system. Yeah. So the main thing to take out of it is we all need a little campfire moment. We all need a chance to, an extended dog walk, a little holiday. We all need a day off or 2 or 3 or, yeah, we all need a bit of that. And it's not wrong. It's not wrong. It's not that we should wallow in the grief because it's our righteous cause. That other people feel sad and we see them on the news and we should focus in on it because it's it's not that we're being wrong. We're turning away. We're turning our backs on the problems of the world. That's not it. It's that we're the people that do our best to fight the problems of the world. So sometimes we need to be in the front line, and other times we need to be in the vanguard, or even in the chuffing, relaxing hospital for a couple of days or 2, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, we can't fight the fight without the rest. We need relief. We do. You work in shifts, don't you? You work in shifts. You work in shifts. That's another good way of saying it. You work in shifts. Shiners too, yeah, that's true as well. So you work in shifts, so it's all right to say, look, need a few shifts off. I could do anything for 12 hours. 12, fucking hell. 12 hours of it. The way I've always allowed myself to take breaks in work, but in a wider context, I've not given myself a break from the worry of the thing. Having to, I've not come home and said, oh, I had a good day at work today, so let's just get on the... I used to just get on the Xbox for that reason, but because the worry would always be, fucking hell, what about this, what about that, what about the other? We talked earlier about gaming being good for this as well. For that award, didn't we? We talked about gaming being good for that distraction. Films, you said about the cinema. It's those sort of things that we humans navigate towards. It says it here. Distraction is helpful. Avoidance is not. Like, we're not trying to avoid our problems forever, but we need to take a break because sometimes we can't handle it. And distraction can put you in a place where excruciating pain can just melt away. And it can be music, it can be theatre, it can be dance. Sometimes you like going for a dance. Sometimes people like to have a drink, which I don't suggest. I think it's not the way forward. But yeah, you need to find your thing. And it's okay to do that. It's absolutely not just okay. It's like we respect your good fight and your position on the front line as, frontline soldier. So you deserve... It's not just deserve, is it? It's like we were saying, it's Noel on the game the other day. It's that... Like, it makes you a better soldier. Do you know? It makes you a better soldier. So you have to accept it. You have to take it on. Like, I remember once... yay, my fencing mentor. I remember once I injured myself and I wanted to keep training, but, I was injured. And, it was basically explained to me that if you want to set these goals that you set, you will destroy them through overtraining, through damaging this thing in your wrist or whatever. So your job for today is to rest. Do you know what I mean? Your job for today is to rest. And that's probably the only way to get somebody that has that sense of duty to literally, you know, allow it to be put down for a while. So it's got to be mindfulness, it's got to be taking a break, and it's got to be accepting that it's good for you, internalizing that, and not trying to fight it. And that's cool. That's cool. You know, you're allowed that. You've won that. You deserve that. She sent you off. There you go. She knows better than me. What do I know? I just come here to talk a load of chuff on the internet on a day-to-day basis. Oh, right. It's now coming up. It's 9:30 in the UK. I'm not leaving you. I'm not leaving you. You can go and watch me forever. I'm on the internet. Probably best to watch the ASMR. Take a little relaxing break, isn't it? But you can talk to each other. You can stay here and talk to each other. I'm going to go and make my dinner. That's also important, isn't it? Remember all the other things that we talk about in Mental Health Monday that are going to come into play in the next few days for you as you recover, which is make sure you're feeding yourself. Make sure you're getting that good routine. Seeing some of the outdoors, doing the mindfulness, allowing things to drift and pass. Meditation might be good at this time as well. Nutrition, exercise, meditation. I think one of the key critical ones is never beat yourself up for anything. If you catch yourself doing it, like, depression is being your own troll. Trolling on, you know what I mean, like trolling on the internet. I was thinking this when I was walking the dog earlier. I was thinking about how because I was going to do the episode about antidepressants, and I know that when I reduce the mirtazapine to a certain level, I start to become my own troll. These nice things you said to me in chat earlier, I've got like my own internal chat going on, and when my antidepressant hits a certain level of out of the way, like my chat starts saying to me, "Oh, what are you doing wearing that chuffing hat for? Like, don't you look like an idiot on the Twitch streamer? But you're not a kid. What are you doing on the internet? Shouldn't you own your own house by now? Where's your wife? What's wrong with you?" But when the antidepressants are working, when I'm living my best life and exercising and doing the mindfulness and stuff, I kind of shut that troll up for a bit, don't I? But that troll is exactly the voice that says, you shouldn't be meditating, you should be working. So, there you go. No, you're not taking up our time. You're creating one of the best Mental Health Monday episodes that we've done, aren't you? Because not only are we reaching someone who's valuable, you, these concepts are valuable to everyone else. And you're feeling the way you feel because you feel... Like, important to note as well, isn't it? You're not... I keep saying it. You're not wrong. Your response is correct. There's been a national tragedy in your country. Like a national tragedy. And... it's... Again, going back to this not having the words. It's still a shock. We're still in shock. So, yeah. Hopeful, that's important, isn't it? And that's what we're here for. So, you've been good. You've been good, not naughty. You've been good. That's the main thing. Onwards to another day. Take a break. I don't even want to see you in chat. I don't even want to see you lifting that thumb to press that buttons on the chat. I don't even want to see you in chat. Obviously, I'm happy to see you here. Always happy to see you here. And we'll try and do something non-confrontational conspiracy tomorrow, because we've got words on Wednesday, of course, but I'll try and do something nice tomorrow as well, with you in mind, because I haven't got tomorrow planned. I was going to do Tartaria, but I don't know now. I don't like getting wound up on the internet. I like being chilled. The world just winds us up, doesn't it? And that's why disappearing into the world of video games is better. Yeah, it needs talking through, doesn't it? You're right. This is the thing that I was saying earlier about America, though. Like, I think for America, there are so many people with political agendas that jump on the opportunity, don't they? And I think it's more about allowing the real people and the real voices to be heard at these times. Do you remember what I said about abortion as well? This is one of those times as well. Do you remember what I said about abortion? Is that my opinion on abortion isn't really the voice you want to be listening to, or shouldn't be the voice that shouts loudest, because I'm not going to have one, because I'm a man. So let's ask the ladies. Let's see what they say. Let's let their voices ring out on that topic. And yeah, of course, I'm allowed to have an opinion and what have you, but I'm not here trying to shout about that. If anything, if I ever wanted to bring that subject up, I should platform a female voice and learn from it. And I think the same is kind of critical here in America. America won't listen to me. They won't hear this message, but there will be a lot of political people seeking to gain from this. A lot of people stirring your emotions. A lot of news bulletins that take you back to that pain. And that's for their gain, isn't it? It's not for the good for the good of you. So yeah, it's I've got confused in what I'm saying now. I've confused myself in what I'm saying. It does need talking about, and it needs talking about by the right voices. That's what I was saying, the right voices. And your voice is, Snippy, is one of the actual more pertinent voices, isn't it? I'm sure the right voices will come to the fore in the coming days, and I'm sure the reasonable and socially, it reminds me a little bit of 9/11 as well. It reminds me a little bit of 9/11. Remember, 9/11 was a great tragedy, but there was still a kind of social, there was a social silence afterwards where no one could tell a joke even. Do you know what I mean? Where it was like so raw, and then things were different then, and we moved forward together. I think that's the way I want to sort of voice that. So the time will come when the correct time will come when the right voices will ring out, I'm sure. And if that's going to be the case, you need to get your rest. You need to get your rest and recover. You know all about that. You're a chuffing nurse. You know all about that. Make yourself a nice cup of tea. Rest and recuperation. They're the 2 hours for today. And yeah, I can't go on any further than 9:30 because yesterday I didn't even get my dinner till late, and the day before I didn't either. So I really have to go and cook my dinner today. So I don't necessarily want to leave, but I'm going to. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just over there cooking my dinner. You'll be all right. We'll all get through this together. You be good, my little pukosh. You have been good. Mental Health Monday, 8 PM GMT. Thank you for being here. It's been made by you. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mary and Lindsay. It was good to see you here. I forgot Lindsay's name because it was a second name, so I've got to remember 2 names now. Hang on. Tigergram. Like a tigergram. Like having a tiger come round for your birthday. Tigergram. Tigergram. It's hard because I don't like, when you don't actually meet people in the real life and they're not here, and then you've got to attach concepts to their names, and it's hard. It's hard. I was always, people would come in the hairdressing shop and I'd say, you want a nice bob, don't you? But what's your name? 3 at the gents were the worst because they're only in for like half an hour. They're gone. Like, come in and I'd know what haircut to give you. You don't have to tell me what haircut to give you. I know that you work at so and so and you've got 2 kids and you're interested in cars. I'd know who you are, but your name, it's gone. It's gone. And that was so embarrassing because people would come in, they'd recognise me, I'd recognise them, I'd say, oh, how's it going? How are the kids? How's Trudy? Sit down. Oh yeah, don't worry, I know you. The usual. Yeah, I know. Okay, let's get going. So, and then something would come up in a conversation. Can you book me in for next week? Yeah. Jane, can you pop this man in the book for next week, please? What's his name? I don't know. He looks like it could be a Trevor. From the back of his head, he looks like he could be a Trevor. Do you know what I'm saying? I had that problem. I always, all the time. But yeah, let's get time. It's time for some dinner. Let's fuel, rest, recharge, recuperate. Let's move on to the future. My dinner's burning. It ain't even cooking yet. That's my problem. It ain't even cooking yet. It's going to be... Yesterday, I'll tell you what, I had a lovely vegan shepherd's pie the other day. I don't advertise foods from supermarkets, but it was a supermarket brand, standard, not something special, standard supermarket brand, vegan apple pie, vegan shepherd's pie, and it was lovely, lovely. So you get some nice food across your chops. You be good, and if you can't be good, you're naughty. So you are good. There's no question here. You are good.